and welcome to Granger Talk. I am Demetri Hatten, and I'm accompanied with two other seniors. As a short introduction, I'm currently an LHS student, senior here, of course. I'm involved in many of the after-school extracurriculars here at LaGrange High, which include LHS Drama Club. I'm on the student council. I serve as the vice president of the class. I'm also here with Carson. Carson, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, my name is Carson Farris. I'm also a senior here at LaGrange High School. I'm the salutatorian of the class of 2024, and I'm also involved in a variety of extracurriculars. I'm a National Honor Society officer as well as a drama club. And Alisa, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Alisa Lee. I'm also a senior here at LHS. I'm the valedictorian for the class of 2024, and I'm also involved in the student council where I'm a representative, and I'm the president of the LHS Service Club and a variety of other things.
Yeah, so those are our little introductions. I think I got overshadowed or overshined by these two, salutatorian and valedictorian, but that's fine. We're going to talk about graduation. We have made it, class of 2024. Stand up. We are near the end. About time.
Thank God.
Yes. So, Alisa, do you have any questions going into the end of your senior year that you would like to ask us, or would you like to spread any type of advice with the underclassmen?
I guess advice for underclassmen is just go for everything that you want to do. Like, I really wanted to ask if there's things, maybe clubs, activities, or just opportunities that you wish you did in high school that you maybe didn't get to do, because I know I have some. So y'all can go first.
Yeah, that's true. One thing that I would like to say, I was actually asked a question during the LHS pageant. What is one thing you wish you can change about your time here at LHS? And it was just like advice to the underclassmen. And I stated, just enjoy your time. I mean, the time here, really, the 4 years have been like a snap of a finger how fast they went by. I remember like just coming in here freshman year during COVID. And right. I feel like I just blinked and I was in the IB program. Then I blinked again and we were done with IB testing. So it was a flash. So if I had to give like one piece of advice, it would be just enjoy the time here. I mean, it goes by faster than what you think. Carson?
Also, I think that it does go by fast, like Demetri said, but something that's really like important for me is like, I know when I look back on certain things, especially like I'm anticipating when I grow up in college or whatever and look back on high school, it's like, I'm only going to remember like the big stuff. I'm not going to remember like the day to day in the classroom. I'm going to remember like the funny times out with my friends, the times where I failed tests, the times where I just did something big, like the pageant or whatnot, the speech that I'm going to give at graduation. So it's like, if I had any advice, I would probably just say, do things that are actually going to like be memorable for you in your life. Like, you're not going to remember like small things. Just go big or go home. That's kind of how I see it.
Right. I like to say I'm like pretty outgoing now, but especially coming in during freshman year, like COVID, I was so scared to like, be the little freshman trying to join all these clubs. And like one thing I wish I did that like y'all two have done is drama club. Like, that sounds so fun. And I know I'm not going to get a chance to do it in college. So it's kind of like off the table for me. And also like being part of the varsity tennis team, I wish I started tennis sooner. I wish I got, really passionate about it sooner, because I've only really been a starter for like the last 2 years, and I would kill for another game.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I think I wish I joined drama club a little bit earlier. I joined my 11th grade year, and then when I started, it was so much emotions. I felt intertwined with the community, and I think that's one of the things I wish I joined earlier, especially when we had some of the great stars like Patrick.
Patrick.
Walker, SpongeBob Walker. They had amazing casts, and I just wish I was there, a part of it. But yeah, that's one thing I wish I could change.
I mean, everyone's going to go through high school having their regrets. Like, I didn't do this one specific thing. So it's not like that's not normal. Like, it'd be unrealistic to say, just don't have regrets, because you're going to have regrets. But it's just like, I think for me, it's just trying new things and just not being afraid, because there's so much things that I should have done in high school that I was like doing or whatnot that I just kind of quit or just kind of didn't care about anymore. And I do regret that, but it's also just a matter of priority. Like, what do you really want to focus on in high school? Like, you can't, not everyone can be like Alisa and just do everything.
Valedictorian.
Yeah. So like, I kind of had to stop doing stuff if I wanted to keep my grades up, but
I mean, there's still stuff I like wish I did, and I still like tried to be involved in everything, and definitely like very sleep deprived during the spring.
Don't do that, freshman.
Yeah, priority is like very big, and definitely also with academics, because you're a student first, like a student athlete, you're a student first, and whatever else you're involved in, your academics are first. And all three of us are in IB, so like I'm sure we all understand that like you have to put in time and effort to be maintaining like good grades in these classes.
Yep, I like that. So, well, while we're reflecting on what we wish we did in high school, what are y'all looking forward to in colleges? You could just talk about what college you're going to and your intended major. I'll start. I'm headed to the University of Georgia with my intended major of management and information systems, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. So I'm going to pass it on to Carson.
I was
Let's
going to
go,
do the
Carson.
same thing. I was going to do MIS.
Really?
I promise you I was. I was going to double major in MIS and finance or something like that.
Yeah, in my finance. My brother did finance.
Or do like
Finance.
computer science with that. But yeah, I'm going to the University of Georgia doing something in business. So
Go
I didn't know
Dogs.
you were also doing that.
Go
That's cool.
Dogs. Yep.
Good eyes.
You got to go to the business. You got to go to college with Terry.
Terry, yeah.
You got to go Terry.
Terry's so good. And on the business track, I really want to do consulting in college. I've like been
Yeah,
really
she doesn't want to say her
invested in
school yet.
No,
She-
no,
she's
no.
like-
So next year I'm headed
Yeah,
to
say it.
Harvard University, and I'm planning to do a pre-med track in neuroscience as my major and have government as a minor. They have a really good like Institute of Politics, and I'm interested in seeing like where that goes, and preparing for medical school and always having like a secondary route. I feel just in case like I'm like medical school isn't for me, but definitely finance. Like the consulting firms are really big.
That's great.
So
That's great.
I'm excited for that.
One of the things that what are y'all looking forward to in college? Like,
Dude, I'm so excited to watch the football games. That's going to be so
I'm
fun.
coming
that's
back.
gonna
I'm
be
coming
so
back.
fun at UJ. Gosh, I can't wait for it. I think aside from high school, I am really going to miss my friends. Like that is just like I think everyone is going to. I think that's one of the cons of graduating. But on the bright side, we have the opportunity to create new friends. It's like a fresh, clean slate. I think that's what I'm looking forward to in college. Mostly, it's just the opportunity to create new camaraderies, like I did with the IB program cohort. Just having that feeling of you're getting closer to someone has always been like it's a great feeling. So I
Yeah.
think going to college and looking forward to creating new friends, I think that's going to be what I'm looking for.
Also with college, especially in Athens, there's a lot of people there. It's
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of
40,000. So it's like, I think in college, it's kind of different from like making friends in college and high school. Obviously, I haven't made friends in college yet, but like at LaGrange, everyone kind of does similar things, or like we all like are involved in something. But like at UGA and college, like you can find your crowd, you can find people that you want to, and like you can choose to surround yourself with those kind of people instead of just like the same set of people for the next 4 years. You know what I mean? So it's like a different kind of like interacting. I feel like that's what I'm kind of excited for.
Right. I really loved my experience with GHP because it was like college where you meet like different people with different passions, and they like are all so interesting, and everyone has like such a different background. So I'm definitely scared about being like very, very far away from home, but excited for the change in scenery, excited to be like near Boston, like the city for sure, and just learning a new culture.
Right. Yeah, well, you're gonna be up north. I heard there's no Waffle Houses up there. So I don't know.
There's no
what
Waffle
you're
Houses, no
bro.
Chick-fil-A.
Sweet
No
tea.
Chick-fil-A is crazy.
30 minutes away.
You gonna drink your pop.
I don't know what you're gonna do. Better form. So I don't know. So moving on. Y'all want to talk about some of the highlights of your time here at LHS? I think that'll be good. Like what was the most memorable 4 years?
Probably losing the pageant. No, that was probably. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but the pageant, that was actually like, I did not expect to get even runner up. So it's like, that was just really like a highlight for me.
The pageant was really cool. Like I've never been a pageant girl, never done that in my life, but yeah, definitely really
Pageant winner right here. Yeah.
pageant winner, both of us. Okay, my mister.
I'll stop it. I think.
Yeah,
I
stop
think
it, guys.
my most memorable would definitely be How to Succeed in Business.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really
So
trying.
good.
I think that was my second play, and it was the funnest play probably ever. It was a little favorable towards the men. I heard some of the women,
Why are you looking at me?
No, I'm just saying it's favorable towards you're another guy, Carson. I mean, did you not enjoy it? I mean,
I liked it. I like SpongeBob better though.
yeah, a lot of people told me that. That's why I wish I
It was
joined
so
so
fun.
much earlier.
Like,
Yeah, it was great. What was your highlights?
Definitely some of the stuff I've done with the tennis team. Like you can't beat high school like sports, like camaraderie. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a different vibe than anything else, I think. And honestly, just like all the stuff we've done with IB. The trip to DC last year was very fun, and we all
it
got
was
like
pretty
very
fun.
close after that with both teachers and students. It just made this year very enjoyable.
Oh, I agree.
Also, I will say like part of IB, it's like I've really enjoyed like getting to know my teachers and whatever. It's like you don't get that in normal high school. It's like you actually get to like know your teachers. And,
Yeah,
like,
create a bond.
yeah, but it's not like a type of bond where it's like weird or creepy. It's just like Maybe with some teachers, but
Oh wow.
Okay.
But I mean, I guess if we're addressing like what we wish we did, like any advice we have, we could also talk about like the application process for college, because that's a big thing. Like I've done a lot of interviews for youth council over like the past 2 weeks, and all of them are saying, I'm so terrified. I don't know what I want to do. I don't like even going into college. A lot of people don't know what they want to do exactly. And it's just like, I don't know how to apply for colleges. I don't know where to start. So I guess we could talk about our process in the fall.
I think I get that we're talking about application process, but aside from this, one like of the biggest advice I have is take your ACT and SAT before 11th grade. Oh, like if you just have some form of experiences on those two tests, it sets you up so perfectly for your 11th grade year, because after your 11th grade year, if you want to apply to college's early action 12th grade year, and your SAT or ACT, it's not up to par to all the colleges that are shifting towards, being more sustainable on ACT and SAT. It kind of puts you like in a bad position almost, especially since most of the colleges are moving towards like not optional with their ACT. So
yeah, they're moving back.
If throughout the process, I think if you can take your ACT or SAT before your 11th grade year, just one time before, like especially before the school one.
yeah,
I think.
I think it's really important to establish a baseline with all of that.
Yeah, that's something I wish I'd done a little earlier.
yeah. Also, like I know like a lot of people just can't take those tests. Like I took it
Right.
so many times, and like I have a pretty good score, but it's like it's something that also taking it earlier on, like those tests, is it makes you like if you take the test and like, okay, I'm not a good test taker, like I could take this over and over again, and I can never really make a super high 30 or whatever, like I want to. You can focus on different parts of high school. So
Right.
it's like if let's say you have a lower ACT, it's like you can just do a bunch of clubs, just do
Right, and-
service projects and stuff.
Yeah, and those tests don't define you. I mean, I didn't have a good score,
Yeah.
and I still got in Georgia. So I think that's like one of the key things is holistic reviews. I think that's why the application process is so important, because if you're not so good in one area, like your scores, you have the opportunity to create like a very profound essay that makes you stand out
Or even your
with other
GPA.
applicants, or even your GPA, of course,
Right.
and even extracurriculars. So I mean,
Yeah.
the application process is not just focused on your scores, of course. I feel like most schools are more like holistically viewing you as a person and not just as a academic superstar.
Right.
So,
All these like top schools that everybody, is putting in their top applications, a lot of them do holistic reviews. And students don't realize that with the holistic review, they're just not like, oh, is this kid smart? Like, is this kid going to participate in college? They're also looking to see if you're passionate about like what you apply for, or if you're like actively trying, if you're not, sure about what you want to do, if you're actively trying to find out like what you want to do, you're doing this and that, and you explain that in your application. I'm trying to find what I want to do in life. That like makes you stand out. That makes you look very determined and passionate. And that's like a great fit for any college. So that's really what they're looking for. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Also just like exposing yourself to specific things. Like that's something I kind of wish I did. I know like I really wanted to do like mechanical engineering, so like building computers and stuff, or computer engineering, sorry. And like I remember doing it, and I just like, it was fun. I just didn't really like it that much. Couldn't see myself doing it. And like I've kind of like shadowed at my mom's business for whatever for consulting. I just really haven't really enjoyed it. So it's like exposing yourself to things. Like I remember I was talking to my mom one time, and she has a friend, and she was saying like, if you want to figure out what you do in college, just figure out what you don't want to do, and then just narrow it down from there and then go from there. And just always expose yourself to new things, especially in college. Like you never really want to take that, undecided major. Just like try things. Like every time you're there, like you're spending money. It's like not worth it. So
Right.
Yeah.
And it can, sorry.
you can go ahead.
It can be scary to like put yourself in those new opportunities for sure. It's just like, I'm a beginner. I don't know how to do this. Like, I don't want to embarrass myself, but it's not embarrassing. You're trying to find yourself and develop yourself and grow yourself. And like for sure in middle school, I had a way different career plan in mind other than pre-med. I thought I wanted to be an aerospace engineer and do like astrophysics, but I kept putting myself in situations where I would be exposed to that, and I just knew it like was not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Right. And another thing for the application process, Alisa actually showed me this. It's like if you can look into your school database before and like see what they align in their qualities, that helps you create a more school-oriented application or essay with that particular school, because that's what colleges are looking for. They look for whatever your college that you're trying to go to. They put it all in a database, and it can be like they look for leadership, they look for GPA, and just having that could just like give you a guide on what you need to do in your senior year, or it can give you a guide on what you need to write about in your application process. So I
Right.
think
The entire college application is, are you a good fit for our school? And
right.
because like, schools have stereotypes of like students who go to that school. That's because the school accepts students with like very specific traits. And you're just trying to develop that and show that through your entire application. And just even looking on the school's website, like you can find what they want in a student.
Yep, I agree. I agree. So I have one more question. I know we all decided what school we're going to now, but before your senior year, was there any schools that you knew you came in your senior year you wanted to go to?
I'm not gonna lie, I was so obsessed with Columbia for the longest time. Like New York is such like, it's called like the cultural like mix. Like you can find anyone and anyone, like anything there, any opportunity you want. It's just like a whole jumble of it. And I really wanted to be in that environment, but I ended up switching because I kind of realized that I do want the college experience where it's like you have a campus, you have like very specific boundaries, and it's just like the undergraduate experience. So it kind of shifted as I did research this fall, putting in all my applications. Right. And it also was the fact that I got waitlisted. But regardless, it just switched. And so maybe like for medical school, I'll decide to apply to places in New York.
I was extremely, I was just so intertwined with the HBCUs. But coming to my senior year, I really wanted to go to North Carolina A&T or Howard. I got into both, but money comes down. Money is really what makes your decision at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that was my biggest decision when going to UGA. I would have loved going to Howard. I still will, but still got graduate school, still got more life. So hopefully I just get some form of experience of a HBCU. Carson.
And I know like a lot of the teachers probably know this, but I wasn't really I wasn't really on top of things, especially last year. I didn't really like. They would ask me like what I wanted to do, and I'd be like, I don't know. Like, you got a dream school? I'm like, no. So I don't really like. I was kind of indifferent, I guess, as like where I would go. I just knew like wherever I would end up, like that's where God would want me. And like, I didn't even apply to UGA early. I applied regular in December, but I got in, and like also there's a bunch of things like scholarship wise. Like it was a kind of a transition time for my family, so it's kind of hard to kind of pinpoint like how much we would be paying and whatnot. So it's like UGA turned out to be the right thing for me, but also I kind of like, I wouldn't say it's nice, but it definitely has its perks, not always being like, okay, like putting your identity into like one school or like basing like everything that you do in high school on just getting into college or whatever. Like you got to enjoy yourself and you got to like have fun and just do what you want to do and like go where you want to go.
I like that. That's a great.
Yeah.
That's honestly great. I mean, because you got to think, if you do make your identity to one school before your senior year and you don't get into that school, it's kind of like, who am I now? Am I something less than what I thought I was? So I think that's a great piece of advice. Is just don't come in so focused on one particular school.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Right. The application process is so bad. Like it's just getting more and more competitive
inflated.
by the year.
So competitive.
Exactly. And like you can have the exact same resume as someone and just simply not make it in because of a vibe that the admissions officer got. Like it's that unpredictable. So definitely like just keeping your options open. And I'm like a firm believer in whatever is meant to happen, like is going to happen. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Scholarships. Any scholarships y'all want to throw out there for 11th graders to apply to?
Definitely stay active scholarship wise, because a lot of them will start taking applications your junior year.
Right. That's a good one.
You can start.
I think some of the scholarships that were the big ones that I think a lot of students should apply to, who's ever listening. Minority. The Gates Millennium Scholarship, I think, is a huge one. I think the Gates Scholarship is a great scholarship. They don't just focus on your ACT and SAT score. They do a holistic review. So I think that's a big one. Local scholarships. I think any local scholarship that you can pinpoint, I feel like take it. I mean, money is money. No matter the amount. Your church scholarship, I'm pretty sure some churches have some good scholarships. Yeah. Little school scholarships. So I think those are the two big ones.
Right. A city now has a scholarship. Just like local scholarships are so much less competitive, and not a lot of people realize like how little. Yes, they're still competitive, but you're competing with, let's say, the local population of seniors, so like 50 to 100 kids who apply for that scholarship versus anything big like Gates, or I applied for Greenhouse Scholars this year, which is also a very good one. You're competing against thousands of kids from around the state who, you know, have completely different backgrounds than you. So definitely just staying active with finding those.
And there's websites and ways you can like look for scholarships that like filter or cater to you. Like I know I applied for a lot of scholarships. Like I remember there was a point in time, like first semester of this year, like I applied to like
Same.
so many, and I just didn't really get a lot. And that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled. But it's like that's one of the reasons why I ended up going to UGA. And it's like I also know like specifically like for schools in Georgia, like you'll get the Zell Miller Hope Scholarship, but that's also like if you're a really, really high achieving student with a really, really good
school
score,
will give you a scholarship.
Well, not really. The schools in Georgia won't. Like that's kind of a difference I've noticed because I've applied to Alabama schools and Georgia schools, but the schools in Georgia will like use the Hope Scholarship or Zell Miller as like we're not gonna like UGA won't give you anything outside of the Hope or Zell unless you're like
they're very limited.
Yeah.
And like extra scholarships.
So I mean that's a great thing. You know, it's like all your tuition's paid for. That's great, but it's also like that eliminates all. You know, maybe possibly more money they could give to you. And I'm not saying that I could have gotten that, I probably couldn't have, but I'm just saying that's kind of how. And also the Chick-fil-A scholarship that I got, if you like have a job or whatever, but some jobs do that.
Definitely. And like out of state, like I know applying can be really like daunting because it's like, oh, I have to, you know, move so many hours away. I have to fly or I have to drive like 10 hours. But a lot of out of state scholarships, because they're looking for talent in other states to recruit, will offer you merit scholarships. So definitely don't be scared away. Like the application fees can, yes, rack up, but also they can be worth it because you might be throwing away an opportunity that you might really enjoy just because you're scared to apply or too lazy to.
Yep, I agree. That's what we think on college. So
we've been focusing on students. One thing I did want to do because like a lot of the audience for this podcast is teachers, is maybe one thing like you have advice for teachers instead of the students.
Carson?
I think with teachers, it's like, I know for a lot of them at LaGrange, like they do a very good job of, you know, like being passionate about the subjects that they're teaching. And like, actually like for students, especially like seniors, like we've done this a lot. Like we know how things go. And it's like, we can tell if you don't care about the subject you're teaching or you don't want to do it. And it's like being passionate yourself about what you're teaching will like also translate into how the students feel about it. So like, I know with Mr. Blackwell's class, it's like, I can tell he really does like find history interesting and whatnot. So I'm going to find it interesting because I can tell like with his lectures or whatever he does, that like he really cares about it. So it's like, you just got to kind of create a culture where your students will also care about the work. It's like you'll get like seniors will get the work done. Like we can do your work, but it's like, do you want them to learn and do you want them to grow?
Right. I think, yep. Oh, God, that was a great piece of advice. One of the advice I would like to give to teachers is empathy. I think empathy is like all our IB teachers gain empathy because they went through the process that we went through. They all had to grade IAs. They all had to push it out. They all had to make these study materials for these big tests. And we weren't the only one just doing work. So I feel like since they had that form of empathy, it created more of a reliable source to like we can lean on them for advice because they're going through the same things that we're going through. So I think empathy is one of like the extreme qualities I think a teacher should look into or try to value because it really does help students. It helps them want to like ask questions because I'm not just asking a question just because I'm asking the question because we're both going through it and we can get through it together. So I think empathy is one of the big things.
I think the best teachers that I know that I've had like throughout my education, they've moved away from the standardized system of education. And that's like really prevalent in IB just because of how it's structured. Like you have freedom to do what you want to do in these IAs, like the subject and like how you format it maybe. And you just have a lot of creative freedom. And teachers who encourage that within their classroom, I feel like have the best teaching styles because every student is different. Everyone has a different learning style. Everyone has different passions. And it's very confining, like in high school to like, oh, it's just test, quiz, and then final exam or AP exam or EOC, whatever it is. And I think moving away from that and just being mindful if you know like a student this is not their learning style. Like maybe they're not a visual learner. Maybe they're not like an auditory learner. They just have to move away from it. Just being aware of that and making sure that you talk to that student and like make sure they're actually learning in your class is really important.
Also, something that you're kind of talking about, but like, I think it's really, really easy to kind of just like play the school game, right? It's like you just don't really care and you just kind of like do your assignments, study kind of, and then take the test. It's like with like a syllabus, like the creation of a course, right? And you have like your syllabus. It's like, okay, we're going to study for like this week of or whatever, and then take this exam. It's just like, it's a very negative environment for the kids there, because they're going to see that you don't when you're creating your course, give yourself like wiggle room to kind of like figure out and do what you like, understand the students that you have and like what they would want to do and how they learn the best. So kind of like don't really structure your course in a way that's too confining as for you as a teacher. Is something that I feel like would help a lot.
Right. And I feel like this is very geared towards this teachers who teach freshman subjects and like introductory classes, and especially introductory like AP Human Geography, because that's the one AP that's available within like your freshman year. It's important to encourage your kids to know like, oh, if it's an AP class, like the APs actually matter. You're going to take this kind of test, standardized test, multiple times within your 4 years of high school. So I think it's important to encourage that, because a lot of freshmen just don't know. Like they're, just stepping into high school and they don't realize that this actually matters. And the counselors are way overworked. Like they have hundreds of students that they have under their thing, like under their umbrella. And it's hard for them to specifically reach specific students. It's hard for them to get through and be like, hey, you need to watch what classes you're taking, because if you want a high GPA or you want to do rankings when you're a senior, you're going to have to start now. Like it doesn't, you can't just decide in junior year, oh, I'm going to be valedictorian. It doesn't work like that.
I know like a lot of people got messed up 8th grade.
Right. You have
like
to start preparing really early. And that job doesn't necessarily fall like directly on anybody, but freshman class like teachers are like, I think one of the most influential people in doing that, because if you encourage your kids to stay active and stay informed, they're going to stay informed. You're going to reach them way better than a counselor does.
And also I feel like moving away from teachers a little bit, I have like a little question, like what's one class like you've really enjoyed in high school, and like why specifically did you enjoy that class?
I personally, I really enjoyed AP Stats, which is not a very common opinion, but it's just been so helpful. Like not enjoyed as in like, I'm not gonna lie, I slept in that class a lot, but it's just been so helpful. Like I've used it so many times.
Great, Alisa, great. Great.
You don't have to be doing that in MIS though. I hope you know that, man.
Yeah. I know. I did stats.
Stats.
I did stats with Miss Selby. She was a great teacher. So I think if I have a teacher like her, I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, it's just not. I don't know. It can get a little controversial. But one of the classes I enjoyed was definitely IB History of Americas and IB Literature. Both classes weren't just focused on, like Alisa said, they just didn't assess your knowledge based on all tests. It was like collaborative-based classes that assess your knowledge through projects, how well you interact with others. And both of the programs gave me outside knowledge, just not on LaGrange. Of course, History of Americas gave me knowledge on all types of countries that range from South Africa all the way to the Spanish conquistadors. And then we had
IB students say it all.
IB English, who gave me IB English is actually the class that gave me the experience of UGA. So I think that's why I love that class so much. It gave me the experience of a higher level education. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much right now.
I'm nervous.
And I think those two are the two that impacted me the most as a student. Definitely. Without a question. Definitely those two classes impacted me the most as a student.
The entirety of the IB core probably agrees with you. It's just there's just a lot of freedom in those like two subjects, and not like trying to bash on the other subjects, but
it's just how the subjects are.
Right.
They are.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get to answer, but definitely like history and English. Also with, I know Hardy's class specifically, like he's gone through a lot of education, so it's like kind of like a glimpse of what, that kind of look like. And I also appreciated that.
Yeah. Also, my 9th grade biology class was that was hidden. I love that class. Shout out to Mr. Hardigree.
Shout out to Hardigree.
That was a great. Oh, I love that was the
I
days.
forgot about that.
It was
That was
also
a
because
great
you had a lot of
class.
freedom in there. Like we did
Yeah, that's
projects,
true.
even as a freshman. Like we did
Yeah,
projects.
the projects
and-
were fun
yeah.
too. Remember like the gummy bear DNA?
Yes.
It was
Miss that class. Well, I think that might wrap us up for today. Thank you all tuning in for Granger Talk. I guess I was your host, Demetri, with 2 other great students. And as always, have a great day. Goodbye, Grangers.